Hey everybody, it's GobletX, and welcome back to another Premier Draft of Duskmourn House of Horror. Without further ado, let's slam dunk the Pack 1 Pick 1 Mythic. Very fun, very powerful card. If you slam this out for 5 mana, it's a 5 mana 6/5 that gives you a land that taps for any color when it enters and every time it attacks, which is ridiculous. But if you're stuck on mana, you can even just play this for Impending for 3 mana, get one of those lands ramping up immediately, and then 4 turns later start attacking with it. So really excellent card, really solid reason to start this draft in green. For pick 2, we have a sweet blue uncommon with Fear of Falling. Got the fine little Veteran Survivor for aggro. I'm not very impressed by green-white though. As an aggro color, I'd rather be like green-blue, green-black, one of the more late game decks, especially with the mana ramp that the Overlord gets us. It'll just fit really nicely in that kind of archetype, so I like the Fear of Falling here quite a bit as the best uncommon for this deck. And the rare here is really narrow. It's for a deck with like a million instants and sorceries, which is not really a supportable archetype in this set. Pick 3, there's a Withering Torment. Green can do a lot of splashing, and Overlord of the Haunting, or Overlord of the Hauntwoods helps to do that, so we can play all 3 of these colors, potentially. Plus, if we end up cutting green or cutting blue, moving towards black, having one great removal spell would be a good start there. So I like the Withering Torment here. But the Moldering Gem's great fixing, so that's a pretty high pick. Intervention's okay removal. Torment is certainly better at actually being able to kill big stuff. And there's also even just land base mana fixing, which is nice. So a really good pack for us. Speaking of really good packs for us, Osseous Stick Twister, Fear of Exposure, Moldering Gem, these are all great. I think Stick Twister and Moldering Gem are the cards really competing. Stick Twister is awesome if you are a deck that can get to Delirium, because generally, if you're like a green-black or blue-black Delirium-y control-y pile, you're going to be a pretty slow deck, so just having a 2-mana 2/2 lifelinker to trade off and then put an artifact and creature in your grave in the early game is really nice. Like, this buys you time, puts 2 card types in grave for Delirium, and if you draw it later, it's also one of the Delirium payoffs. You start making your opponent sack stuff or discard cards or shooting them in the face, and even if you're not aggro, to where you don't think you care about shooting them, you're gaining life every time you shoot them in the face with Stick Twister. So this card's been really impressive to me, to where I will take it over a Moldering Gem here. Try to go maybe green-black, Delirium at the core. And I think that card is just one of the best 2-drops for green-black Delirium. Pick 5, we have coinflip.exe, or we have Spineseeker Centipede, which is excellent fixing. What I really like about this card is that there are some pretty powerful aggressive decks in the format, so its ability to make sure that you're hitting all of your right colors and drawing an extra land, while also just trading off into your opponent's random 2-mana 2/2 is super, super sweet. You get to set up your mana and still get some blocks going. So Centipede, I think, is better than Cartographer. Cartographer is like, okay, if you're on the play and you have like a combat trick to go with it, it's going to be egregiously good. But if you can't get any survival triggers off of it, it's really bad. 2-mana 2/2, just no text. So you really need to be either a focused survival deck with a lot of ways to trigger it, like a lot of combat tricks to go with it, or cards that give it indestructible and stuff till end of turn. But you need to be that kind of deck, or you just need to be really lucky, where you have it in your opening hand on the play on turn 2 and your opponent doesn't have a blocker. Anyways, now we have Manifest Dread versus Moldering Gem. I do already have a Centipede and Overlord for fixing, and we only have 1 blue card right now, so we could just be green-black Delirium up front still at this point, and I think Manifest Dread, one of the best 2-drops in terms of filling your graveyard for Delirium, because you're putting a sorcery into your grave for Delirium immediately, and you're milling another card type with it. We got a pick 7 Oblivious Bookworm. Come back in, Fear Falling, we're 3 color. It is Sultai time, so with enough Manifest Dread cards, this Bookworm is just a 2-mana 2/3 that draws you a card every turn. Even if you don't have enough Manifest Dread cards for it, draw a card, discard a card is still good value. That's going to let you filter through and find the cards you need while filling your graveyard for Delirium or Reanimation or anything like that. So I think we're Maybe green-blue at the core, splash black, or green-black at the core, splash blue. It's going to be some combination here where the safest pick out of this pack is the Watchdog, because whatever way we go, green is going to be a core color, because that's the color that gets us to the Centipede and the Overlord to fix into any of the other two colors. Just have the right kind of mana at the right time. Pick 9, Branch Snapper's fine. Glimmerlight's also fine, but I don't think it actually really does anything, and doesn't do as much in these slower Delirium-y decks. It's really best in the eerie aggro kind of decks. That Cadaver Lab thingy is also decent. But again, I'm going to stay pretty deep on green here. Let's go. Moldering Gem. I'm a little sad that it clumped up in the same pack as the Strangled Cemetery, because I think it's more consistent fixing than that, because it can get either color you need. But I would have loved both of those cards. It would have been awesome. Alright, Murky Sewer didn't clump up in the same pack. This is incredible. We're just going to be full Soul Tie, and the mana's going to be so easy. 2 Moldering Gems, Centipede, Overlord, Murky Sewer. This is straight up Magical Christmas Land. Pack 2, pick 1. Another Moldering Gem. I could splash red for Winter. Really need Delirium for that. And honestly, you want like 7 cards in Great for this, because otherwise, if your opponent's decently aggressive, they're fine with having like a 3-card max hand size and just dumping the spells you're giving them out onto the board. There's Unable to Scream, pretty efficient interaction, which we currently only have Withering Torment, so that could be a high pick. Another Moldering Gem, but judging by how the end of the first pack went, we could just wheel that. Break Down the Door is decently flexible. I think I'm just taking Unable to Scream. Just get removal into this pile. Pack 2, pick 2. Any removal to put in the pile? There is a Final Vengeance. This is not a good deck at having expendable creatures to sack to it, though. Or expendable enchantments. Because the Moldering Gem, we really want to play the Weight Room. Otherwise, it's kind of like we're sacking a 5/5 to cast the Final Vengeance. I guess really late in the game, once I've activated both of these rooms, then we can sack it, but this is way better in more aggressive builds. I'd rather have the Lakeside Shack or the Cryptid Inspector, which can get pretty big with all our manifest nonsense. I think I'm just going to take the Shack. I just want like perfect mana here. Yep, pick 3. There's the Paranormal Analyst. So every time we manifest Dread, instead of getting a 2/2 and milling a card, we're getting a 2/2 and drawing a card. Super dumb card. Basically a must-kill threat, or it's going to give you ridiculous value throughout the game. Here's pick 4 for a Growing Dread. This plays so well with the Bookworm and the Analyst that I will take it over a really efficient removal spell, like the Coordinated Clobbering. And it looks like green, blue, splash, black is the end here, where we might not even play the Stick Twister anymore. But this black splash is going to be really easy. Another Spine Seeker Centipede to help out with that, while being a creature that can trade off while fixing us. Pick 6. This is all kind of bad for us. I don't think we're playing any of it. Might be a good deck for a Pyroclasm if we end up splashing red instead of black, weirdly enough. Honestly, I'm going to speculate on that. Just in case we like open up a red mythic or something. Then that'll actually be pretty good. Vanish from Sight is fine, and I'm low on interaction. Termorphic Expanse is fine. Could splash Fear of Infinity? Doesn't block, but it does gain you life every time it's sending in. Seems okay, not really super worth a splash. Yeah, no, I'm just going to take the Expanse. Pick 9. Again, don't think I'm splashing Winter, but I'm definitely not splashing a 2-drop like a 2-mana 1/4 flyer, which is why Stick Twister's getting cut. It's a good 2-drop, but 2-drops, like, you splash them in and then you're never going to play them on turn 2. You're still going to be setting up your mana at that time. Much better to splash in the later game plays, like removal spells or 5 mana, 4 or 5 mana cards. There's 2 more 6-drop creatures. This curve looks really good. Plenty of early blockers, and then plenty of big late-game finishers. Because, 3 6-drops. This deck really just looks excellent. I might have to play Final Vengeance because we're so low on removal, which is awkward. Found Footage is actually pretty good for loading up Delirium. I could play that as Delirium filler. And Megalodon as Manifest Dread filler, much like the Branch Snapper here. When we need the mana, we just discard it, find the mana, and sometimes we'll randomly manifest into it if we get really high up on the curve. So, pack 3, pick 1. This pack is awesome, and I wish I could take 2 of these cards. There's Enduring Vitality, turning all of our creatures into mana fixing and mana ramps. This card is really, really excellent. I think I'm going to take it here, but the Wicker Folk Thresher is also really, really good. 4 mana, 5/4. When you have Delirium for it, which looks like our deck is pretty good at getting, then it's going to look at the top card of your library every time it attacks. If it's a land, it's going to put it right onto the board, and if it's not, you're still going to draw a card every time it attacks, which I guess is usually just going to be once or twice, but even that, 4 mana, 5/4, draw 1 or 2 cards is like really good, but Enduring Vitality is adorable and also very good as well. It's wonderful fixing. It's really good with our curve here. We have a lot of 2 and 3 mana creatures, surprisingly, for even the slower archetypes, so I think Enduring Vitality is just awesome here too. Pack 3, pick 2. I guess I could run Enduring Vitality and Rickety Gazebo. Then I have Enduring Vitality, Rickety Gazebo, Greenhouse, and Overlord of the Hauntwood, so I could get literally any color. And then I can play Winter. And then any other cool rares that get passed, I can play all them. I'm really just passing up on another Unable to Scream to do that, to have that option open. Although we saw another one of these greenhouses, and I don't think anybody else should want these, so I think I'm going to take Unable to Scream. And then if there's nothing like really good on color, Jesus, there's something really good on color. If there's nothing really good on color, I think this is a draft pod we can genuinely just take the best off-color splashable card each pack, and then we could just wheel both of the Rickety Gazebo mana fixers and just splash everything. But Sultai is so open, there's just good stuff on color every pack anyway, so we just don't have to. We're just going to end up being green-blue, splash a tiny bit of black. I think we take Beastie over Survivor. It's just more consistent. Yeah. Wow. All right. We saw any Altanax. Here's all the say its names. But I think we're taking a Clobbering because I'm still wanting removal. Another Megalodon. Looks good. Just a random 4-drop. How many Megalodons is too many Megalodons? Jaws 3? Was that movie still good? Or was that overkill? Guess we'll find out today. Also, Moldering Gem. Remember that game? Obscure, that's what it was called. For the PS2? It was PS2 era. Bunch of plants in a high school kind of game. I think I'm taking Branch Snap. This might be wrong, but I'm having a lot of fun just loading up the 6-drops with the land cyclers. So that if we manifest into any of them, it's great. And I actually have 6 3-mana mana ramp cards now. 2 Centipede, Triple Gem, Enduring Vitality. Plus we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 2-drops, so we have plenty of early blocks going as well. We actually, awkwardly, have literally 0 cards in this deck that actually care about hitting Delirium, even if we're really good at hitting Delirium. So goodbye, Found Footages. We don't need you. That's funny. That's very funny. Another Vanish if I need more interaction. Say Its Name's an excellent card at getting to Delirium and reanimating good rares and stuff. One of would still be decent here, I think, even without the delirium nonsense going on. Somebody took all the gazebos? What's going on in this draft pod? Alright, 6 cards to cut here. So I think since we do have 2 Unable to Scream, Withering Torment, and Clobbering, I can drop a Final Vengeance. I even have some Vanish from Sights if I need them. I just think we're going to have to sack something actually good when we draw into Final Vengeance too often. Say Its Name is also kind of awkward in here. You want a really high creature count in the deck, and one of the things about these Manifest Dread decks is they're running a lot of non-creature creatures like Moldering Gems, Growing Dread, Manifest Dread. These are all sort of going to be adding to our creature count, but they're not going to be grabbable by Say Its Name. So if we mill into like these, we have to just pick up a land or nothing, which is awkward. So I'm actually going to drop the Say Its Name. I also think I have plenty of value without the card with double Bookworm and a Paranormal Analyst. 4 more cards to cut, and I have 5 land cyclers. So I can definitely cut. I don't want to cut 5 lands so that I always have to land cycle these things, but I can cut a couple. Really, really, really want to hit 3 mana turn 3. That's the big, big, big deal breaker. But if we're doing that, pretty much every single one of our 3 drops gives us more mana. Double Centipede Vitality and triple Moldering Gem, so we can definitely cut like 2 lands. 3 might still be a little bold. Yeah, let's just go like cut 2 lands. Let's just play 4 of the land cyclers and drop like a beastie here. Well, oh, I have so much ramp. I'm gonna drop a Vanish from Sight and play both the beasties. And we just have so much top end in this deck. Just green ramp idiots, Manifest Dread idiots. We're running a single swamp for all of our cards that can tutor out the basic. One of the issues with running a single land of your splash color in decks with a lot of Manifest Dread is you could end up just milling it to a Manifest Dread card or manifesting it face down on the board. And that'll be really, really awkward. So even though I'm literally only running Withering Torment for black spells, I might want a second Swamp just to make it a little less likely it gets randomly milled. If it does get randomly milled, we still have Murky Sewer, Enduring Vitality, and Overlord. We still have 3 black sources for the single black card if the swamp gets milled. And if it doesn't get milled, we have like a million. So I'm not going to run another black source. I'm just going to make sure I have plenty of the main colors. 17 green, 10 blue. I'm just going to go real deep on green. 7, 8 green sources and a Terramorphic. And then 4, 5, 6 blue sources and Terramorphic. And then 2 black sources of Terramorphic. That looks pretty excellent to me. Let's call it a deck here, hop into the gameplay, and see how this very sweet little Sultai build is going to do for us. All right, here we are on the play. Got the Growing Dread into Enduring Vitality if we find another green source. Unfortunately, the land cycler is an island cycler and not a forest cycler. Hello, Paranormal Analyst. Well, let's force them to have exactly Scorching Dragonfire here. Otherwise, this Growing Dread's going to be really good and potentially help us hit the land for Enduring Vitality. And we could also just hit the land for Enduring Vitality and just be living in Magical Christmas Land, where I can now play the Vitality, clobber the Flyer, and just take 1 on the Crackback and still have Unable to Scream for something too big to clobber. Seems really good. If I hit a land, I might just be playing a 5/7 Vigilance on turn 4. Even if they keep all their mana untapped, We'd rather pass holding up an instant speed spell than play into a potential counter. But if they tap out... Ah, no shark. I can play a beastie, though. Time for the Beastie Boys. Also get some decent growing dread value going. I kind of want to get Analyst triggers just like immediately here. We've got plenty of other ways to remove, and if I stop the Vessel before they play any more enchantments, that also seems pretty nice. I might actually just Growing Dread main phase, because I have not played land for turn. Okay, so Manifest Dread to the board. Well, instead of a land, is it cool to play a 2/2 here? With Enduring Vitality, actually, yes. Wow. This is ridiculous right now. Ridiculous. I completely forgot on the second Manifest Dread it triggers too that it's not like a once per turn thing, so I didn't even think about if I wanted the Overlord on board or the Beastie. Jesus. Such a pop off here. Play the Megalodon. I can kind of only play one creature here no matter what I do. I could just flip the Overlord and it's got 5 toughness and they can't kill it. Yeah, I don't hate that because that's also adding to my mana, so... Oh my god, it has 6 toughness because we have the Growing Dread on board. This deck is so dumb! Oh... I don't even know what I'm doing right now, but it's all powerful because these cards are insane. Sorry, Blue-Red Rooms player, you have a very cool archetype, but our deck is popping off. That's kind of a pop-off. They get the free unlock of the 6-mana room. So now they have Double Strike in the sky. And double striking the Key Bearer in means that they will get so much mana there. That said, I think things are still going absolutely wonderful for us over here. Honestly, can just send in the whole team. If they kill the Analyst, it's by letting every other point of damage through, which is way too much damage. Yes, they have to just be on Chump Chump. Mega Shark time. Whee! Okay, there's Chump Chump right there. I've got 2 cards left in hand. One of them is Meat Locker. Sorry, Overlord of the Hauntwoods. You need to chill out. And then Key Bearer gets the draw 3, discard a card here. We could just die to this Tunnel of Hate Key Bearer combo. It's another 6 damage next turn. If they can use a combat trick or something, be lethal. Yeah, we're not finding any removal or anything. Just gonna die to a Key Bearer even after all this. That's gonna be really sad. Play 2 of these if Megalodon and Vitality are still alive. I mean, because Vitality's ability is still here if they kill it, I don't feel like they double block it. At 13 life? Yeah, I mean, I need the damage output to kill them in 2 turns here, so I think we try to just get the chumps going here, and then the double cast. Oh my god, it's a tap land. Oh, I'm so dumb. I needed to not attack with Analyst. Whoops. Yeah, so I still only ended up casting 1, even though they didn't kill the Vitality. God dang it. So yeah, we needed to put them in a position here where we somehow lethal. Okay, well, we're dead anyway. Well, that's 8. That's not quite 9. If we're dead anyway, then not being able to play both beasties doesn't matter. But if I survive through this turn, and then I don't quite get a crackback since I sent Analyst in as well, that's bad. Alright, unlock the Painter Studio for free. So they have 4 mana to play whatever it hits. So flyer that comes in tapped, and then a 2/4 blocker. So they play the 2/4 blocker, they go block, block, take 4. And they would still just take 9 if I had Beastie on board. It would still not be lethal either way. Man. Oh, especially if they can play 2 blockers here, then it's really not going to be lethal. Okay. 1 draw step to deal with the Ghostly Keybearer. Now, even if I deal with it, they have a Piranha Fly, so I guess it doesn't matter, because they play FOMO and Piranha Fly then, so that they're not dead on board, and even if Keybearer dies, they kill me next turn. Yep, alright, that's even worse than Piranha Fly, because it's going to kill me in the sky next turn, and it blocks right now. Man. Ghostly Keybearer, Tunnel of Hate, too strong? That doesn't do anything. Alright, well, on the plus side, even if I played the game literally perfectly and also got this beastie down, they would be killing me in the sky regardless. There was nothing we could do there. I suppose I could have played it out a little slower. I could have held on to the unable to scream instead of getting aggressive and clearing out the vessel early there, but I feel like the getting aggressive and clearing out the vessel early is what got us so far ahead, like mana-wise, early with the Vitality, Overlord nonsense just going insane and getting damage in at the same time. So the game would have technically, in the long run, played better if I just held on to Unable to Scream, but I don't think with the information we had at the time that it was a misplay or anything. I think things just didn't pan out for us, and it happens. We are 0-1 heading into game 2. All right, here we are for game 2. Now there's one of our many pieces of interaction that could have saved us if we drew it at any point. Sadness on the stack. Flesh Burrower. It's a little annoying. I like the Centipede against that. That seems decent. Just trade the Centipede into it on attacks or blocks at some point. Mash for Beastie. We're really thinning all our lands out of the deck. Make sure all of our late game draws are going to be great. A nice thing about having all of this fixing. Yikes. That is probably even stronger than our Overlord. Draw 2, discard a card. Yeah, I mean, draw 2, discard a card over and over is nuts. 5/3 flyer as well. 4 turns to kill you. Oh, it doesn't have vigilance. Why did I think it did? Oh, delirium gives it vigilance, that's why. 6 mana next turn. I need 6 mana next turn for Weight Room or Branch Snapper. Am I ditching a Beastie then? I kind of want Analyst before the Weight Room. I could see Analyst Hold Up Vanish being a play. So 6 mana, play Branch Snapper, then go like Analyst Hold Up Vanish the turn that this is going to start attacking. And then Weight Room now that there's an Analyst out. Ew. Anthropede is really bad when your opponent doesn't have a room on board, and really good when they do. It's a very coin flippy kind of card. It's going to be really good in best of 3 draft, but it's kind of just one of the sideboardy cards that's a little grown testy in best of 1. It's like, man, wish I was my like just Boros aggro deck right now that just doesn't run rooms. This card would be so bad for our opponent. Alright, well, let's just play 7/6 tramples now, right? Goodbye, Analyst. I have no more manifest going on board. Vanish from sight actually kind of sucks against the Overlord, because when they recast it, they immediately get the draw 2, discard 1 again. Just instantly get more value. It's kind of a bummer. Maybe we should have just traded for the Flesh Burrower there. But I like trying to race here, because we know we're playing a good tempo play soon. Well, that does not play good since they played another Centipede. Play a threat and get more mana, right? Best we can drop on this board. Enchantment engrave yet? Creature, enchantment, and land. Put an instant in there, but I need to use that when this can actually attack. Wow. And then the main deck Naturalize. That one I consider a little more main deckable than Anthropede, but still depressing. It's just like the perfect matchup for our opponent. Okay. They have a 2/2 as well now. Weird time to flash it, but okay. Oh, get the Centipede Delirium. I see. Never mind. I'd say it's not going to save the Death Toucher, but it can get 1 extra Centipede damage in. Alright, and as expected, I die to an Overlord. Because I can vanish it and then they can just recast it and I still have to chump the other stuff now. Rip, this is a really depressing run for the deck so far, starting 0-2. I think this deck is way better than it's done so far. We've just hit ridiculous opponents, as you do. Of course, I find the unable to scream in the end step when I have to vanish already. And literally one draw too late. Now they're going to get to draw 2, discard 1 again when they recast that, and I'm dying to everybody else. If I drew this a second earlier, we could have unable to scream that and have the vanish on another one of these threats and actually have decent blocks here. Not decent, but enough to like not be definitely losing like we are now. We'd have a chance, which is something. Let's draw literally perfect for the rest of the game. Because now I have to unable to scream not the Overlord to not die. Oh, attacks is actually good for us. Or we can keep the bookworm. If I get a manifest thing. Oh, that's such the wrong removal spell. But it is technically enough. Just the fact that we have to tap a creature means we're dead to any removal or stun from our opponent. It's better to draw a card and discard this than to just shuffle it and get a land. Oh, because I hit the clobbering, they hit the stun card that kills me off the top. If I hit any other removal, we're still alive, and then we drop a Megalodon to have more blockers. Depressing 0-2 start for sure, but what can you do? I think unless I'm literally like all-knowing and future-seeing, we're never winning those first 2 games. The second game, we're never winning, period. I don't see any lines that end up coming ahead there. But the first game, the only way is if I held on to unable to scream for the flyer in the late game. And I think, again, we didn't really misplay. Everything was reasonable with all the info we had at the time. Yeah, rough start is rough. We just start at 0-2 with what looks to be one of our better decks. Just reading it off a sheet of paper. All right, time for the 7-0 rally. It'll be a little hard to do on the draw. First game here in the 7-win streak, but we'll see. All right. Green, red, awesome. We're against an aggro deck on the draw for my potential 3rd loss. Oh boy. Oh boy. What the heck are you doing playing full Naya and being aggro? Well, that's depressing. Goodbye, friends. Y'all are so dead. I don't think I have time to flip either of you. I need to survive till the late game and then just start dropping 5/5s and 5/7s and stuff. Oh, good. Next turn they have a 5/5 haste because they play any creature, and then this is getting in, and this can't enchant it because it's a vehicle, so I have no removal to deal with it. When do I start having fun again? No. The only vehicles in this format are rare, and the reason is because they play so well with survival. The survival mechanic would be completely broken if there were decent common and uncommon vehicles. So it was a deliberate design choice to make vehicles only at rare in the set so that people could not just destroy you with survival cards like this. I need things to go so right for me at this point. I can unable to scream the survivor and just guaranteed take 5. Feels better to try. Exile removal as well to stop the death trigger. Well, this was the most depressing draft of the month, I think. 0-3 with this deck. I genuinely, the only game that we could have possibly won was game 1. And again, I would have had to know that they were going to have a great flying threat coming up. I think this deck's genuinely very good. It has 6 2-mana blockers, so it's not too slow or anything. 6 2-mana blockers to make sure we're cluttering up the board, being able to trade off and slow down the game. Multiple 3-mana blockers, all of which are also ramping us into our late game threats, as well as 3 more ramp cards here to get to these 5 and 6 drops. We just had an abysmally bad run. Our opponents were pretty much all living in magical Christmas land where dreams come true and their hands are always broken. And we lived there in exactly one game. Game 1, I think both players had incredibly powerful things going on, but outside of that, we just got completely crushed. Game 2 and Game 3 by ridiculous curves that we couldn't really do anything about. Yeah, we have 4 pieces of hard removal, 1 piece of tempo removal. That's plenty of interaction, 6 early game blockers, tons of ramp to get to the late game. I don't see literally anything wrong with this deck. The fixing is also spectacular. That's just magic. That'll do it. 0-3 with a really solid looking green-blue deck. Incredibly disappointing run today, but you cannot win them all. Sometimes you are just the villain in somebody else's story. We're just the background character there to get crushed today. Tragic run. Again, I don't even think our deck even played badly. Right? Like all those games, the hands that we drew, the spells we were able to cast were like good hands for most games of Magic, but that was just 3 ridiculously powerful games of Magic in a row from our opponents. Yeah. Like we were showing up to every game with a very solid like 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10 opening hand and just getting demolished by 10 out of 10s left and right. Alright, well, green-blue is officially my least favorite archetype, because this is by far the best green-blue deck I've ever drafted, and it just gets completely crushed at 0-3. I still don't think it was anything wrong with the deck or the archetype, but my experiences with the archetype have not really been any better than this. It's like every time I draft it, everything goes wrong in the gameplay. Just disappointing. I don't know. I guess that's going to end the draft for now, and I'll see you all tomorrow when I'm going to go back to playing Boros and blue-white aggro and getting a 7-0 run. Even when it's not open in the pod. I don't know. I'm depressed. I'm frustrated. Probably not a super fun watch today. I try to keep a positive mindset in most of these drafts and everything. But today, there's not much to be positive about. I'm sorry. It's kind of a bummer, and I don't know how else to put it. I don't love this draft. This one sucked. It is what it is. But that's gonna end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for supporting the channel, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon in the link below. And other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.